injury. Did he shock you? What he was able to do in his performance tonight?
He definitely impressed us all. You think about a kid who hasn't played in a while, but what Colin has proven time and time again against all his doubters is that he's not afraid of the big moments, and he likes pressure-filled moments. Not everybody in our league has the courage to do what he did tonight. Not everyone in our league has the ability to do what he did tonight. Give the entire team credit for their resilience and staying in it through some difficult times. But Colin Sexton brought us home tonight. And again, people can say what they want to say about him, but there's a small group of guys in this league that can do what he did tonight.
Coach, when you're looking at just you guys being a defensive team, but how all but one, Isaac Okoro, scoring in double figures for you tonight. You said you wanted to manufacture points on the defensive end. What stood out to you about what you guys were able to do in order for that to take place?
We struggled offensively a lot because of decisions that I've made through injuries. If you remember back to the beginning of the season when we had bodies, we were able to play a style of basketball where we can manufacture points. We were getting close to 30 assists a night. We were down 6 of our top 10 guys at one point. So we needed to figure out a way to keep ourselves in games with that. The more bodies we get back, we're confident that we can play offense. We can play with pace. We can share the ball. We can do those things that can be and make us a good offensive team. And again, I expect us to get better through time, when we add Darius back and Dylan back and Kevin Love back. Those are all guys can help us immensely on the offensive end of the floor.
Last thing, how gratifying was it for you guys to get this win for Torian Prince and Jared Allen, with this being their first game with you guys, but also facing their former team?
Again, we try to keep the main thing, and playing the right way is the only thing that matters to us. Obviously, guys like to beat the team that they've been traded from. So I'm pleased that we can, satisfy that for them. But we know we got a fight coming in here on Friday. So we're not resting on our laurels tonight about one game. These are the moments when the true tests come. How do you respond? When a team of that caliber, you got to see them, in 48 hours. So that's our focus right now, is going back to the lab and preparing ourselves for another scrap.
Kelsey?
Kelsey Russo, The Athletic. JB, were there any conversations with, Colin in those timeouts during in the overtimes just about how he was rolling and everything, and just to keep shooting it all?
No, at that moment I left him alone. He had a plan in place and he was carrying out his plan. He was taking what the defense was giving him, and then he was creating opportunities on his own. So I felt like, he had a good feel for the game. He had a rhythm. There was no need for me to step in the way and mess him up.
And with this being the first game that Jarrett and Torian were able to play with you guys and getting Colin back, how does this, I know it's only one game, but how does this kind of help show you the potential of you guys when you are at full force, and also now having them in the mix?
Again, I think it helped our depth, making that trade. It brought in guys who fit the makeup of what we're looking for. Tough guys, scrappy guys, guys who can help each other on the offensive end of the floor. TP's ability to make shots, his ability to defend, Jarrett's ability to, he made some unbelievable plays protecting the rim. Again, we're not necessarily used to playing with him yet. There's certain things that he does that we got to get accustomed to that'll make us even better. More pick and rolls, more dribble handoffs, those types of things that we have to continue to get better at. But again, we are still building. We're still getting comfortable with one another, and we're working to improve.
Mark Spears.
What's up, Coach?
What's up, Mark?
Think should go back to wearing suits, man. You look better with suits on.
Comfortable, bro.
My question for you, after seeing what you saw tonight, how excited will you be, assuming Darius is back tomorrow, to get that backcourt back together?
Again, we're extremely excited. We have high hopes and expectations for what they're capable of doing together. These two guys complement one another. They're dynamic together. And you can ping pong them so they're not always on the floor at the same time, and they can still bring that dynamic to the floor. But we're extremely excited to get them back together. We're excited to get back to full strength and see what we're capable of.
And lastly, that's the expectation is he will play Friday?
That's my expectation.
Yeah. Thanks.
Spencer
Davies, basketballnews.com. Coach, I just wanted to ask you about the job that Isaac did on James in the first half. There was only 2 field goal attempts. He had 3 turnovers, and just from my observations, it looked like he was keeping him in front pretty good and doing a good job on not biting on a lot of his moves. So just your summation of that.
Again, I think that's who Isaac is. I think Isaac is a really good positional defender. He makes you work for it. Obviously James is one of the best offensive players in our league, and he will have his nights. We've all seen that clearly. But what I think Isaac does is Isaac makes you beat him. He doesn't give you angles. He doesn't go for steals and get out of position. He makes you have to score over the top of him. And I thought he did a great job of that in the first half for sure.
And Jared Allen coming in, he was pretty much as advertised, had 4 blocks, a lot of huge defensive plays, and even some offensive rebounds. So just your, overall thoughts on how he played, and even Torian coming up big there in the last couple of periods.
Yeah, no, we were, obviously pleased. We've watched Jared play a ton of basketball. We knew what to expect when he showed up and what he could bring. He's the same all the time. You know what I mean? Like, there is no ups and downs. This is what he does, and he's extremely good at it. So we were pleased. And then obviously, Torian being able to come in, make big plays, communicate defensively, but then make big shots on the other end as well. Was definitely a bonus for him. So, we're definitely pleased with both of those guys and how they performed.
Trudell, did you have one, or did someone take your question? All right, let's go to Kelsey.
JB, I kind of wanted to go back to the defense a little bit. Obviously, we've talked about it so much this year and what the guys have been able to do. But again, so being back at closer to full strength at this point, and your additions, how does that just continue to help you build on what you are building defensively and what you've seen? And how did tonight's performance just kind of help continue that process?
Again, it's in creating an identity is what our goal is right now. Being able to scrap, being able to compete on every possession, being able to help one another. That's who we're trying to become. And, the more you keep adding bodies back to that, it takes time to get to where you want to go. So you have that rhythm. Defense is a rhythm as well as offense. And when you're adding bodies in it, that changes the rhythm because of what each guy is capable of doing. So we're trying to blend that all together. But again, it gives us depth. And, the way I see us tonight is we're going to have the opportunity to call different people's numbers and different guys who can do different things. Whether it's switching more, whether it's rim protection, whether it's defensive rebounding, whether it's a guy we need to chase. Those are all things that because of the depth that we have, we can be extremely versatile and plug and play guys in different situations and different scenarios.
Thanks.
All right, 2 more. We'll go to Spencer and then Chris Manning. Spence, go ahead.
Yeah, before Colin really had that takeover, Jetty was having probably the best game of the season, just as far as is his rhythm and his ability to find others. So, what did you see in his game and what he was reading for him to be as successful as he was tonight?
I think he was playing the game, with what the defense was giving him with an aggressive mindset. When he was open, he took shots. I thought our guys did a great job of finding him when he was open. I thought, a lot of the movement that we created gave him opportunities to take shots and make plays, but he played within what we're trying to do. He led in that manner tonight. He was one of the guys who carried us in playing the type of basketball that we wanted to play on that end. And then I give him credit too. He busted his tail on the defensive end of the floor as well. So, he stood out and he was leading in who we're trying to be.
It looks like he's having a lot of more success too in finding the bigs when they're rolling to the rim on those handoffs. Is that something you guys have worked on in practice, or is that just something he's added?
Every day.
All right, last one, Manning. Go ahead, Chris.
Thanks. JB, Chris Manning from SB Nation. Do you, with getting Torian in, and eventually you'll have other guys too, but do you like the fact that you can play a little bit smaller now and kind of have those amount of switchable guys on the floor at the same time?
Yeah, what I like about it is, and we obviously haven't got there yet, but we can have, two different styles of play. We can play with a bigger lineup and be more methodical and attack the paint more. Then we can play with a smaller lineup, play with more space, a lot more pick and roll, a lot more pace, and it'll make you more difficult to game plan for, because teams like to come in and play one style. And if you have the ability to play multiple styles within a game, I think it gives you an advantage.
And last thing with Isaac, he obviously spent time on James Harden and Kyrie, two of the absolute elite of the elite. I mean, when did you know, from whether it was pre-draft or getting him in camp or whatever, when did you know that you could throw that at him and he would be able to handle it?
We obviously we watched a ton of him playing in college. But what we did was, we asked people a lot of questions about his makeup, and it's a mental toughness thing. It's a lack of emotion when it comes to, a great player making a shot. Some people put their head down and they don't want to guard him the next possession. Like, he's mentally and emotionally strong enough that it doesn't matter what happens. He just is dogged enough to get after you the next possession. I don't know, another, way to compare him, but like defensively, he makes you have to beat him. He doesn't make mistakes in one-on-one situations that give you an advantage. And I'll say that again, like, these guys are the elite of the elite. So some nights it's going to happen, right? Some nights they're going to get, they're going to make those tough shots, but you're going to have to beat Isaac.